Hey everybody, I'm ZeldaMaster and welcome to a new Breath of the Wild discussion video. So today I don't necessarily have a topic in mind to go over, it's more so I want to discuss my opinions of the game so far, like what we know so far about the game, because ever since E3, Nintendo has released a flood of information about the game, but they also claim that it is only 1% of the game's content. So in reality, it isn't necessarily much, but it is so much to work with that tons of fans, including myself, have been speculating and theorizing so many different theories about the game. And yeah, overall, I just kind of want to come to a halt and just analyze what we have so far, and then hopefully Nintendo will release more. But so far Nintendo has been kind of rehashing what we've seen before. As of recently, they've been uploading a lot of little videos to their social media networks about just, you know, gameplay of Breath of the Wild. They've uploaded like, you know, a scene of the ruined Temple of Time, or you know, Link using the ice and fire arrows that are within the game, or even Link cooking and cutting wood. Like, it's just any type of gameplay has been shown about the game, and it looks awesome. I mean, I'm eating it up. Anything Nintendo shows, even though we've technically seen it, sorry if I hit my microphone there, but even if we've technically seen it, I still enjoy watching it because I enjoy just talking about Breath of the Wild, as you can tell. And yeah, any type of new content or any type of gameplay they show off, I'm usually going to watch it and yeah, just analyze it in general. And overall, I kind of stopped analyzing the game and what we know so far because I feel like it's come to a point where it's a little much. I see a lot of like theories that go super in depth, especially with the timeline itself, how people are even like calculating like how big the map is and how things will fit, and it's just crazy to think, because this game is like, it's a fictional game. So I just feel like when I do at least theorize about the game, I look for more like logical things that I feel like the game designers would also look for. I mean, maybe Nintendo is trying to stay as canon as possible and not have any plot holes, but Zelda has had plenty. I mean, to the point where they had to make two separate timelines and then they just threw a third one that kind of took all the other games that wouldn't fit in the other two timelines. So when you really do think about it, Zelda has a bunch of plot holes in reality. I mean, even in the Fallen Link timeline, the way Ganon gets constantly resurrected, I don't know, I feel like it doesn't necessarily make too much sense. And overall, I feel like all Nintendo had in mind when they first started creating Zelda was just Link versus Ganon, kind of the same old legend to be rehashed. And then when it was put in timeline form, some of the games weren't planned, maybe, because I feel like at least with Majora's Mask, it fit perfectly in the Youngling timeline with Twilight Princess following after. There's a lot of references already to how Majora's Mask happened and how Ocarina of Time technically never happened for the Twilight Princess era. And then same goes with Wind Waker. I actually really like those two timelines. The reason why I never theorized about the Fallen Link timeline is because it's the Fallen Link timeline. Like, Link died, and I get a lot of people who do make Breath of the Wild theories about it, especially in the comments of my theory video. I had a lot of people telling me that it most likely will be the Link from either, I believe, like A Link to the Past, or one of the games within the timeline, or it will have something to do with the Fallen Link timeline. But I honestly feel like, I really hope Nintendo just forgets about that timeline. I know a lot of people might be like, why? That's kind of weird how they'd forget about a timeline entirely, but I feel like that timeline was just there to implement all of the games that didn't fit. And then we got two other games in it recently, which was Triforce Heroes and A Link Between Worlds. So it's just like Nintendo's still adding to it because they want to keep making games based off of those types of games that were in the Fallen timeline. So if that's the case, then maybe Nintendo is gonna like specify each timeline to have a certain type of Link. So Twilight Princess Link reminds me a lot of Ocarina of Time Link. They're really similar. I mean, if anything, Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess are really, really, really identical, except the whole bizarre aspect with the Twilight, you know, realm and Wolf Link. But when you really think about it, they play out really similar to the way A Link to the Past did, and I feel like that's the Zelda formula, where, you know, you take on 3 dungeons, get the Master Sword, then continue on the game, and then you finally fight the final boss, which is going to be, obviously, we all know it is, Ganon. So, yeah, Zelda has always had this formula, per se, and I feel like, you know, and that's why the child timeline is my favorite era within the timeline. It's not where I based Breath of the Wild to be in, but looking at it, I feel like it's a great timeline, and if any game follows Twilight Princess, it would be great. I know Four Swords Adventures is after, but I just don't really consider it. I don't really know how that fits in. I feel like it's just an extra game that could have maybe fit in the Fallen Link timeline, if anything. But my point is, I do like that timeline a lot, and I feel like if Nintendo were to add to it, it'd be cool if they added another realistic game like Majora's Mask or Twilight Princess, which were in that timeline. And then as for the adult timeline, which carries out the Wind Waker events, I feel like those events work out really well with how Ocarina of Time did work, and then, you know, all of that happened. So, I mean, those two timelines make a lot of sense. I just personally don't like the Fallen Link timeline, but my point is that it would be cool if Nintendo also had the adult timeline to only feature Toon Link, because so far we've gotten Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks, and nothing more, and it's been like a cartoony-based timeline. So it makes you wonder, where would Breath of the Wild fit if Nintendo were doing that, because it doesn't really fit in any style. I mean, if anything, it will fit before Ocarina of Time, like, you know, maybe Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword had a weird cel-shaded style to it. It didn't look like Wind Waker, because it looked really weird, and also it was really low resolution, so, like, the game just looked bad as it is. I really wish Nintendo upscaled it when they released it on the Wii U. Like, I'm really salty that they didn't. I was waiting for Skyward Sword to be ported, but it wasn't. But the only reason I got into this whole timeline tangent right now is just to kind of give you guys a base idea on how I see the timeline, and how I hope Nintendo kind of bases the timeline to be. Like, just each timeline have a specific type of reoccurring themed Link. Like, you know, the Link to the Past Link will always be in the Fallen Link timeline, and then the darker, more edgy Link will be in the Young Link timeline, and then the Toon Link will be in the Adult Link timeline. So if Breath of the Wild were to be in a game, I'd feel like it would kind of fit in the Toon Link timeline, if anything, because not only is it because my timeline video that I made, so I strongly believe that it is a part of the the Wind Waker era, but the other reason is just because it does look a lot like it with the whole cel-shaded graphics. And in Wind Waker, if you look at, I believe, Hyrule Historia, they did also show this, that I believe Nintendo was planning to have Link age, and seeing that, it would be really cool to kind of have, I don't know, some sort of connection, and Link actually does age. And when you do look at the game does resemble Wind Waker if it was like kind of upscaled in a new look, because it looks really cartoony in that sense. And I don't know, when I saw it, it just reminded me a lot of the Wind Waker. I can't help but get the Wind Waker vibe from Breath of the Wild now, so that's why I keep associating it with it. And I'm more so thinking of a like an outsider standpoint than an insider standpoint. By that, I mean, I don't really think about how it would fit in the story within the timeline per se, or how just the events do pan out perfectly. How I see it is, it's a fictional game, so anything is possible. If Nintendo wants to put it before Skyward Sword, they could put it before Skyward Sword, even though it won't make any sense. They can add stuff to it to make sense, to fill in those plot holes, because it's just a fictional game. So when I usually do theorize, I don't look at it like I'm researching some sort of piece of history to where this evidence is not going to be changed, because it is subject to change, because it's not real. So that's my way of looking at timelines, so I don't really get too in-depth with it. There's a lot of other videos out there that do get too in-depth. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy watching them. They're very interesting, but I personally don't really feel like that would ever happen, especially when you do look at it, that's never the case. Like, it's never like with video game design or any type of story to where they follow an exact path, or kind of you can get like backtrace its history. If Nintendo wants to throw a curveball, they will throw a curveball. So, and it would be better too. I don't want to be able to predict the game's story, so I'm kind of glad that we're unable to, but it's so nice to do so. Don't get me wrong, I still like talking about it and just being a part of the community talking. That's why I make these discussion videos, of course, so I can get your guys' input as well about Zelda, because it's just fun to talk about games like this. I mean, I just literally open my camera and I could sit for just hours, if anything, talking about this game, just because of, you know, how, I guess you could say how passionate I am for Zelda. It's just, yeah, it's pretty much a huge part of my life. But essentially, my whole point is, with all of the timeline videos and all of the theories and all of the stuff like that, I kind of take it a tone down a bit, and I don't really look at it that in depth, if anything. And sorry, my camera constantly stops recording. I don't know why. I have more than enough memory, but it like wants to record 5 to 10 minutes or something. I'm still working on this camera. It's actually a brand new camera, and that's why I'm using it for my discussion videos. It is super HD, as you can tell. You can really see my face in the background and everything. Okay, not necessarily my face, more so my mouth. But yeah, I do love this camera. It's actually one I bought myself. I'm not using my roommate's camera anymore. It's the same one he has though, but it's mine, so I'm able to tinker with it. And yeah, I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, my whole point essentially was, like I said, when I do look at theories and stuff like that, I usually like to not look too far into it, because I know it's still a game and it's just people making stuff up. Even though it's so fascinating and I love it for what it is, I know in reality it's still just fictional. So I don't really go too in depth. I look more so like I said, an outsider's perspective. So kind of like when I saw Breath of the Wild, I saw all of the similarities to the Wind Waker. I don't really think about it too much, and I'm just like, okay, I mean, I can see it fitting. But hopefully, you know, I'm proven wrong. I honestly want to be proven wrong, because I want to not know anything about this game. I'm purposely trying to talk about this game so much and exhaust myself with it. And I'm hoping all of these theories, all of these things we talk about are the complete opposite of the final game. And just theories, not the gameplay itself, because my expectations are the same. But in general, just overall with the game's story, because we literally know nothing about it, I really hope Nintendo does something completely different this time around. But in general, let me know what you guys think about the game so far. Are you guys extremely excited? Have you guys pre-ordered it? Do you guys plan on getting it on release? If so, what console? Like, let me know what you guys think about the game in general in the comments below. As mentioned, I personally am really excited for the game. I say that all the time. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be getting it obviously on the NX, and I will be doing a Let's Play. So you guys will be hearing all my opinions about the game when the game comes out. So let me know yours in the comments, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this short discussion video. I just more so want to talk about why I don't go too in depth in theories and just overall my opinions of Breath of the Wild. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. I've been ZeldaMaster, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!